A United States nuclear submarine has no windows. Once it dives, 100+ people can go months without a single ray of sunlight, and the human body was never built to survive that. Here is the problem most people never think about. Your body does not keep its own time. It borrows it from the sun. Sunrise, daylight, darkness, those are the signals that tell your brain when to wake, when to sleep, when to be hungry. Take them away, and the body clock does not just drift. It comes apart. So the Navy does something quietly remarkable. It builds a day from scratch. Every meal, every light fixture, every sleep rotation on that boat is a piece of engineering with one job: to convince 100+ people that time still exists. Here is how they pull it off. Start with sleep, because on a submarine, sleep is the system, everything else bends around. Nobody down there sleeps a normal night. The crew is split into sections that rotate through watches, the shifts that keep the boat running every hour of every day. For decades, that rotation ran on an 18-hour cycle, 6 hours on watch, 12 hours off. Do the math, and you'll spot the trap. An 18-hour day never lines up with a 24-hour one, so a sailor's schedule slid a little further out of phase with reality every single day. Studies eventually found that crews on that rotation were performing as if they were mildly sleep-deprived or mildly drunk. So, around 2015, the Navy made a quiet but major change, shifting most boats to a 24-hour schedule that actually respects the human body clock. Then there is the bed, or the lack of one. Space on a submarine is so precious that on many boats, there simply are not enough bunks for the crew. The fix is called hot racking, sometimes called hot bunking, and it works like this. 2 sailors are assigned the same bed. One stands watch while the other sleeps, and when they swap, the mattress is often still warm, which is exactly where the name comes from. If that detail surprised you, a like genuinely helps push this to more people who would find it as fascinating as you do. The rack itself is a coffin-sized slot, maybe 2 feet of headroom, sealed off by a thin curtain. Under the mattress sits a sailor's entire personal world: clothes, photos, whatever they carried from home. It is, quite literally, the only private space they get for months. Number 17. Meatloaf with tomato glaze and green beans. So how does a crew with no sunrise know when it's morning? They taste it. With no sun and no real day, the strongest signal of time left on the boat is the smell of a meal. The galley runs on a strict cycle, 4 meals a day, roughly every 6 hours. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a 4th meal almost no civilian has heard of. It is called mid-rats, short for midnight rations, served to the watchstanders who are awake while the rest of the boat sleeps. That rhythm isn't just about feeding people, it's a metronome. When the body has no daylight to read, a hot breakfast becomes the thing that says, "This is morning," even if it's pitch black outside, and always will be. And the food itself is a deliberate weapon against misery. Submarine chow has a reputation as the best in the fleet, and that is no accident. When a crew is sealed in a steel tube for months with no sunlight, no families, and almost no privacy, a good meal is one of the only morale levers command has left to pull. Bread is baked fresh through the night. Early in a patrol, there is real fruit and salad, though fresh produce and milk are the first things to run out, usually within a couple of weeks. After that, it is frozen, canned, and dry stores, loaded in such enormous quantities that cans get stacked directly on the deck. For the first stretch of a patrol, the crew is literally walking on their own food supply, the floor dropping as they eat their way down to the steel. The meal schedule, in other words, is not catering. It is timekeeping you can taste. Now we reach the center of the whole problem, the light itself. Because if you cannot let the sun in, you have to build your own. For most of submarine history, the lighting trick everyone has heard of is rigging for red. At night, the control room swaps its white lights for deep red ones. But the reason is not what most people assume, and it is not really about the crew's body clock. Red light barely disturbs the eye's night vision, so if the boat came to periscope depth in darkness, the officer at the scope could step from a lit room to a dark eyepiece and still see. Rigging for red was about the eyes, not the calendar. The real circadian engineering is newer, and it's clever. On modern boats like the Virginia class, the interior lighting can shift color and brightness across a day. During working hours, it runs bright and slightly blue, the same cool, high-energy light your brain ties to midday sun, the kind that suppresses the sleep hormone melatonin and keeps you alert. As the artificial evening arrives, the lights dim and warm, sliding toward the dull amber the body reads as sunset. The submarine is, in effect, performing a sunrise and a sunset on a schedule, using nothing but tunable bulbs. Sit with what that means. On a submarine, the time of day isn't something you observe, it's a setting. Dawn is a value on a dimmer. And the only honest glimpse of the outside world comes through the periscope, which on newer boats is a camera mast feeding a screen, and only in the brief moments the boat is shallow enough to raise it. The sun has been replaced by a control panel. And yet, for all of it, the rationed sleep, the metronome meals, the manufactured dawn, there is a hard limit to what engineering can do. Because the toughest part of a patrol was never really the darkness. It is the sameness. A submarine on patrol is, by design, cut off. Historically, the crew had almost no contact with home, a trickle of short, one-way family grams, if anything, and even those were limited and screened. No calls home, no sky. Every day is the same temperature, the same hum, the same light cycle running bright to amber, the same faces in the same passageways. Submariners talk about losing track not just of the hour, but of the week, of surfacing after months and being startled by something as ordinary as wind, or rain, or the color of the actual sky. So the body clock gets a schedule, morale gets a good meal, the eyes get their fake sunrise, but the mind mostly just gets discipline, routine, and the people in that steel tube alongside you, and somehow, patrol after patrol, that turns out to be enough. Remember where we started. Your body doesn't keep its own time. It borrows it. A United States submarine is what it looks like when a machine has to lend that time back, meal by meal, watch by watch, one manufactured day at a time, until the boat finally comes up, the hatch opens, and the sun the crew has been imitating for months pours back in. So here's the question I'll leave you with. What would get to you first down there? The no sunlight, the hot racking, or the silence from home?